Hey guys, how we doing today? Here we go, episode number 3 of Football Talk with Hawk. Welcome in. First things first, check out this brand new overlay done by Icy. He has been doing some absolutely amazing work. I know I have talked him up very high on this channel, and this is why. That is my new Football Talk with Hawk logo. Love the headset over the hawk, and the name just absolutely stands out and is perfect. He's done an absolutely great job. My socials are right underneath. There's my Twitter, YouTube channel, and my Discord. The Twitter will be in the description. Discord's in the description. Everything's down there. Big shout out to him. And the other thing that's in the description is the server that he works out of. And if you use code HAWK, you get $2 off. So big shout out to him. Thankful for all the work that he has done for the channel. And well, let's start talking some football. Here we go. All right, I had a couple questions that were proposed to me. So we're going to kind of slow down in a sense. I've got 4 divisions left to run through individually, and with the way the videos are lining up, training camp just got through its first week basically, and I've got 4 divisions left. So what the next 4 videos will be is 1 division each. I have the AFC South, which we're doing today, NFC West, AFC West, and then the NFC East. So we're going to go through those, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on each one of them. I'm running through them relatively quickly, and I don't really need to. I wanted to get the videos going, and we're going to be this week. I got 2 videos out, and that's probably going to be what it is until football season really kicks in. Because when football season kicks in, my Saturday morning video will be the picks from Paying Dog, myself, the fantasy players to look out for that week. That will be the Saturday morning video. The first 2 videos are going to be more of the recaps, looking what's going on, what the injuries that have happened, where the teams are and stuff like that. The Saturday video is primarily going to be our picks, the fantasy update, and stuff like that. So that's why the 3rd video right now each week isn't really there, because it was never designed to. That 3rd video is supposed to be for the picks when we get to that point. And no, we are not picking preseason. Not a chance. But that does start on Thursday, the Hall of Fame game. Real football does return, and I'm freaking happy about it. All right, coin flip. Let's open it up. Navy football. My dad was in the Navy, and I grew up a Navy fan through the horrible years, early on, late 90s, early thousands. Then they got good for about a, say 7-8 year stretch. Paul Johnson, was the coach that started the revival, and huge shout out to him for what he did at the Naval Academy. And then just in the last, they kind of treaded water. They were playing around 8-4 every year for a while, and just recently they've been just bad again, just bad. And let's be honest, the NIL is going to do nothing for them, absolutely nothing. They're not going to get any government money to go out and get 5-star recruits or anything like that. So, unfortunately, here's the outlook for this year for them. The outlook is really simple. Probably 4-8. I hope they can do a couple miraculous things. I really do. Really hope they can do a couple miraculous things. But I don't think so. Their recruiting classes aren't nearly as strong as they used to be. The smaller and smaller they get, the easier they are to push around. And they've never been big. It's the Naval Academy, we understand this. But they don't even seem to be as fast as they used to be either. and that's a concern because that's what Navy was. Even if you couldn't beat them, or if you were going to beat them with size, but you were never going to outrun them. Navy was quick, and they've lost some of their speed. They've lost some of the shiftiness they used to have. Hopefully they can get it revived. I want to be wrong about this prediction really badly, but my prediction for them right now is going to be 4-8, hoping they make it to 6-6 and get a bowl game. I just don't see it this year, but I'm going to watch at least the recaps of every single game, and we'll see what happens. So, all right, let's jump in to the first team in the AFC South we're going to cover, the Tennessee Titans. This team is very intriguing. No A.J. Brown, first of all. No Julio Jones, second of all. Robert Woods, how do I put this? Robert Woods is a really good 2 receiver. He's not a 1, he's a 2. He is definitely a 2 receiver. And he's not going to be asked to necessarily take on the outrageous responsibilities of being a number 1 receiver, but he has to act like it. I don't know if his injuries are going to hold up. I think the Rams traded him for a reason. They see that it's a leg injury. He's a receiver. It will probably come back. It's the same thing with Odell Beckham. Same thing with Dez Bryant. You get a leg injury as a receiver, it's hard. It is downright difficult to go back full and be reliable in the position. We know Tennessee's going to run the ball. We know they're going to play some stout defense. I love their secondary. Their secondary is really young, really active. It's scary. They got their faults, but it's scary. Their linebacking core is, when you look at it on paper, you think it's really solid. But their performance last year did not match up with what was on paper at all. Proof that you don't play this game on paper. Their defensive line, there's no doubt, defensive line is stout. They play hard, they play big, they play physical, they push you around on the defensive side of the ball. Tennessee is built really well, and they are built to be able to win in December and January. But I don't think they're going to make it to January. I think they can win 10 games. My guess is they're actually going to win 9. Remember, episode 8 will be the final standings prediction for the entire league. I'll do every single team, conference by conference. And then episode 9 will be our picks for who's going to win the AFC, NFC, and the Super Bowl. So the Titans, though, are a very intriguing team. They've got the potential, but last year, you're not going to go to Los Angeles and beat the Rams this year. Last year was so odd. The Jaguars beat the Bills by holding them to 6 points. You had a bunch of games that looked completely off. And I understand this is professional football, but come on. You had teams that were Super Bowl contenders that lost to teams that have no business beating them. It was a weird year. Tennessee is not going to, they're not going to have the firepower they've got the ability to run, but they can't get behind. Their schedule early is rough. I think they're going to fall behind early. I think they could go 2-5, 3-5 through the first 8, and they could easily rattle off a win streak later in the year. But I think they cap out at 10 wins tops. My guess is probably 9 wins. I think the schedule is just a little bit too tough. Derrick Henry is going to get his rushes. Derrick Henry is going to be an absolute beast like he is. Tannehill, I don't think, is as focused. They drafted Malik Willis, and he wasn't happy about it. I don't know why. You got your contract. You're still safe. They drafted a quarterback that is designed for them to work on him for 2 years. And then if they're ready to move on from this window that they have, then they move on. Like, this is the business side of it. Don't get all cranky about it. He had problems after their loss, so I don't think Tannehill is going to be all there. I think it's going to be rough. I think the Titans get 9 wins. Cap at 10, my guess is 9. The intriguing team in the AFC South, though, is Jacksonville. This team could leapfrog both of them. They could leapfrog both the Texans and the Titans. It's confusing. You don't know how to be able to judge them. The thing with the Jacksonville Jaguars is really simple. You love the core. The team is the defense. They bring in Walker. They've got a solid linebacking group. They've got a scrappy secondary, but the defensive line is rough. I mean, they are fast. They are quick. They are strong. And I like what they did. I loved their offseason. Travis Etienne, if he comes back from his injury, plays back up to Josh Robinson, you have a two-headed monster in the backfield. I could see them running two running back shotgun sets with Lawrence, being able to do screens to either one, and both of them will be fantastic. Solid receivers. You got a quarterback coach now to be able to help Trevor Lawrence grow. The offensive line is going to be a little bit better. I like what they did. I absolutely love what the Jacksonville Jaguars did this offseason. Did they pay a little bit extra for the free agents? Yeah, but money talks, especially in this industry. So Jacksonville is my dark horse in the AFC. They have a schedule that they could be around just long enough, and then you never get them kicked out. Like, it will be one of those where you go, where did they come from? And they will just have been sneaking in the grass like Jaguars do and just waiting to pounce. I like them. I like what they've built. I can be completely wrong and they only win 5-6 games. Or I think they're going to get 8. I think they're going to sweep the Texans. I just think their defense is going to be strong enough to push around the Texans' offensive line in both games. I believe they're the better team. I believe they sweep the Texans. They play the Colts rough all the time. They've played the Colts rough my entire life. Since the divisions got realigned and the Colts went to the new division when the Texans joined in 2002. When their divisions realigned, Jacksonville has always played Indianapolis tough. Always. Whether on the road or at home. It's a division game. If they can split, think about this. You guys may think I'm crazy, but think about this. If they sweep the Texans, that's 2 wins. If they split with the Colts, which they did last year, and they split with the Titans, that's a 4-2 record in the division. Okay? It's not out of sight. This team could easily be hot enough for that to work. And my guess is they win 8 games. If they sweep the Texans, potentially split with the Colts and Titans, and they win 8 games. I think they'll be a team that can mess up the playoffs for somebody else. That's really what we're looking at. I think they're the team that could mess up the absolute playoff system for somebody else, knock them out, put them in, whatever it may be. That's that team. All right. On to the Texans. This is a team that needs structure. This is a team that needs a direction. They've had a lot of turmoil the last 2 years, 2.5 years. They got rid of Deshaun Watson. They got rid of the I don't want to call it a fake hire, but it's what it felt like. David Culley is out as head coach. I do not think anything of David Culley, and if you're out there, please do not make any judgments on David Culley as a head coach. That guy got thrown into one of the worst situations ever. He made good decisions with who he hired as his assistants, so give him credit for that. And last year, he did have a team that would play hard, although in the first half, they were never not prepared. They were never not prepared to play football. So give him credit where credit is due. and do not judge him off of what he had to go through. Now, the coach that is taking over, Lovie Smith. I have heard the comments and read them that he's old, that his systems aren't going to work now. He was on the Pat McAfee show, and Pat asked him, because obviously him and Tony Dungy are great friends, and I've always respected Lovie Smith. Really was happy we beat him in the Super Bowl, but nonetheless, he said this: how can it be outdated? We still have the cover 2 in the NFL. His defense and Tony Dungy's defense, the defense that they made popular, is still one of the staple defenses in the NFL for many teams. It's not old. It's how you do it. A cover 2 for the Texans' young secondary is perfect. They're going to take a lot of chances. My prediction is this: their defensive line isn't great. Their linebackers are but their secondary is going to be able, because of the defensive system that he plays, the secondary will be able to take chances. Look for the Texans defense to have a lot more interceptions than sacks and forced fumbles. That's what I foresee happening. The corners will be allowed to take some chances. They'll drop back in their zones a little bit deeper than they should. They'll be able to do the double out routes, and they'll cut in front of one of them. And I think the defense, it's going to be a scrappy defense. You're going to be able to beat them, but they're going to be scrappy. You're not going to just run over them. You'll have to scheme exactly where you want to go, but the schemes will be simple, and you just have to be on point. But if you screw up, the team will make you pay. That's what I see in the Texans. His offense, you got Davis Mills at quarterback. Is he a good quarterback? None of us know. I can't wait to see how he improves this year. He did great last year. For what he came into, he did very good. For the situation, what he had, the weapons he did not have, and where he was. I am looking forward to what he's able to do this year. And I am just glad that Lovie Smith is back in the league. The next coach I want back in the league is Jim Caldwell. And my guess is if Lovie Smith wins 5 games with the Texans, then Jim Caldwell will probably get a call. And it could be from the Jets. I don't know what the pressure is going to be on Saleh, but it could be on the Jets. The Jets could easily give him a call. And maybe even the Panthers. If the Panthers don't go anywhere this year, look out. Because Tepper wants to win down there, and he wants to win fast. And Jim Caldwell took the Detroit Lions to the playoffs pretty quick. Because you need a man to lead these men and boys that are coming into the NFL now. And that's why I love the hire for the Texans with Lovie Smith. I love that hire. Get yourself a system. Get back into everything. Give yourself a foundation to build upon. And I'm looking forward to what the Texans will be able to do. All right. Now, here we go. The Indianapolis Colts. The winners of this division this year. The players of a home playoff. That's what we got. All right, now let's slow down. The Colts have a couple of glaring issues. Very glaring issues. I'm going to cover those first. Number 1, our secondary. The corners, outstanding. The safeties, we're in trouble. I am afraid that the cover 1 defense over the top is going to be our biggest weakness, and we love playing that cover 1. Julian Blackmon is a very solid safety, but he is not healthy enough. Rodney McLeod is old. If you had a healthy safety on one side and you had a more veteran player on the other side, that works. In fact, it worked for the Colts for years. It's not going to work this year. We lost Kari Willis, which was I believe he made an All-Pro, but nonetheless, he was a really good safety, starting safety for us. He retired just, 6 weeks ago, something like that. And that hurts. That really does hurt. The back two players on defense for the Colts are a weakness, and that is never good. Now, our defensive line, strength. Corners, strength. Linebacking core is so-so. I'm not going to say they're great because they're not. When you take them individually, this linebacking core is a typical Colts linebacking core. One great linebacker, two solid team linebacker players. That's what this Colts defense is. And together as a unit, it works really well. But there's holes because of that. So, number one glaring hole is the safeties. It's definitely an issue back there. The second hole we have is on the offensive line, which has been a strength for the Indianapolis Colts for quite some time now. Our left tackle position is in flux. We don't know who one of the three will be. We got three options: the rookie out of Central Michigan, Matt Pryor, and then somebody else that we signed that no, he's in the fight, but no. Right guard is the other issue. Now, for the Colts, the prototypical thing has always been we have really good right tackles, we have good center, and we have normally either a good left tackle or left guard, one of the two. Right now we have the left guard, Quentin Nelson, absolute beast, runs over everybody. We got our center, Ryan Kelly, very good, very Jeff Saturday-esque. We got lucky. That was the right pick. After Saturday was gone, and then we went through that 1 year and we drafted Ryan Kelly. That was a great pick. And then our right tackle right now is Braden Smith out of Auburn. Fantastic right tackle. Our left tackle and right guard right now are very much in a question mark stage. I don't know how good the right guard's going to be. You got to be good enough to make these runs work. So he's got to at least be able to run block. The pass block, we're probably going to have to chip a lot with our tight ends this year. It's not going to be ideal, but it can work. In fact, in this offense, it probably will work even better because I think what you're going to see this year, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have Matt Ryan doing a lot of play-action bootleg, but he's not going to be like Carson Wentz and throw the ball to the other team all the time. That's what you're going to have. So the bootlegs, with the additions they have, like right now we've watched training camp, and I don't put a ton of stock into training camp because we know it's, there's no contact, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, they're not, in full pads and stuff like that. Here's what I like to see. Here's what I pay attention to through training camp. Who's going all out? That's what I want to know. Who's going all out right now? The Colts training camp film right now is a bunch of guys that are going all out, trying to get themselves ready. And let's be honest, first week of training camp, that would be when I would go all out too. Reggie Miller, long time player for the Indiana Pacers, said what you do when you were off for a year or off for two, or how retired guys came back, was they would go through a 10-day process, and you would shock your body back into shape. It was rough. It was 10 days. It wasn't fun. It was brutal, but you would shock your body back into shape. To me, if you're going hard in the first week of training camp, you're shocking your body back into football shape from the offseason. I love seeing guys going for diving catches in the preseason. Love see them going all out. And that is what I see right now on every single tape from Colts training camp, which is what has me excited. Because if you're willing to go all out in training camp, you're going to go all out in the game. So Paris Campbell has been injured a lot. He is kind of a linchpin right now on that offense, because if he goes down, we don't have another slot receiver on. We just don't. We'd have to sign a free agent, and I'd be willing to, 100%. But Paris Campbell is a burner. He is a fast burner. So I really want Paris Campbell to be healthy, to be able to use him in our single back sets where we want to go play action. We can motion Pittman in from the side and have Campbell run the post flag route, run the in and out route. And I think that will be really effective. Frank Reich is smart. He's going to keep Matt Ryan protected. The team, if you piece it apart, is not everything you want it to be. But from the owner, the GM, the head coach, the staff, the players that are now on there, we've got a leader at quarterback that's going to be able to be the coach on the field again. Finally have a professional quarterback back in our backfield. We have a quarterback that can do that. This team will win 11 or 12 games this year because, as one, the defense isn't going to keep the offense off the field for very long. They'll get the ball back. The offense is going to be able to keep the defense rested, and together, it's going to be a lot of close games. The Colts fans are going to hate it. We're not going to blow a lot of people out probably, but we're going to be able to win the hard games, and I believe win them relatively consistently. So I'm looking at 11-6 or 12-5, and really excited for this year. They'll have, and this will be a success. What is success? Well, for some teams, it is just making the playoffs. If you're the Detroit Lions, making the playoffs is success. And then they threw that away. And now they regret every minute of it because they haven't been back to the playoffs since. Cleveland Browns, what was success? Making the playoffs. And then they made another big swing to try to get back to the playoffs. Making the playoffs matters because the only way to make the Super Bowl is to make the playoffs. You got to get there first. And the Colts just have to get there. Because if you win your division, you get a home game. You win your division, you get a home game. So win the division, get a home playoff game, win that game, you make the divisional round, and that will be a successful season for the Indianapolis Colts. They are nowhere near at the top of the league as far as Super Bowl contention. Could they? Yeah, they got a running game and a defense that potentially could make a run in the playoffs. Absolutely. Will I be rooting for that? 100%. If it doesn't happen, will I be upset? No. No. Realism has to come into play when you're looking at these teams. That's why I've got the Colts 1, Titans 2, Jags 3, and the Texans 4, and potentially Jacksonville leapfrogging the Titans. If Derrick Henry gets hurt in Tennessee, they don't have the weapons to hold up against any other team without a running game that's going to run for 150, 200 yards a game. So it's very injury based. The Colts, honestly, the only person that if they get hurt, we'd be in trouble. A lot of people will say Jonathan Taylor. No. Nyheim Hines is a really good running back, and our running back room is really strong. It's Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan gets hurt, we are done. It's that simple. If Matt Ryan gets hurt, we are done. And Jonathan Taylor's a big part, but you know what? We can keep him healthy. If he gets a little foot sprain in the middle of the game, we'll just let Hines run, and he's faster. I mean, he is so dang quick. And that'll be how that works out. So there is that. Let's move on. I got a special thing here. So I told one of my buddies that I had a special segment this video just for them. And it is 100% soccer. You see, in other lands, for some reason, don't understand this, but in other lands, they call it football. See, we already have the real game of football. And so soccer is going to be coming up here, and it is the World Cup. Now, I saw all these groups, and I'm not going to lie, I was impressed. I was really impressed, and here's why. England and USA got put into the same group, which means myself, if I decided to become a die-hard soccer fan, would be rooting against all of my English friends. I personally don't want to do that. I will just be honest. USA doesn't worry about soccer. We don't. We don't. The World Cup matters to many, many more teams, many more countries than the US. Soccer is a global sport. Football is a global sport. And it is ingrained into the very DNA of many countries. And for that, I respect it highly. I love the World Cup. I love the Olympics, soccer. The amount of emotion that is behind this sport, which is sometimes in many countries the only sport they have. They have a little basketball, but it is a proud thing to play the World Cup, and countries back their teams. Either way you look at it, this World Cup is a huge part of global culture. And although I do not play it, although it's not something that I live and breathe, I highly, highly respect the tradition, the intrigue, the passion, the emotion that is completely wrapped around this game that so many people love. So because of that, England, best of luck to you. Go beat USA. Go for it. I know the country is all behind you, and it is for a fan of sports. In a couple jobs that I've worked at, I've been over a group of people training them from all walks of life, from all countries. And every year when I was training people through the World Cup, I would always have people from different countries. I remember one year, it was really fun. I had somebody that was from Spain, I had somebody from Jamaica, and then I had two people from Morocco. And you want to talk about trash talk? Listen, I thought we were bad in football. I thought we were bad in football. Soccer holds nothing to us. Good grief. Holy cow, the trash talk that went on. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I told them, just don't start yelling. I don't care what you do because I got the rest of these people that don't care. But, I love the passion behind it, and I highly respect it. So to all the countries participating in the World Cup, I got all the groups over here. There's 4 countries per group. To all of them, best of luck. And may the best country win. And that is really how I feel about it. I am excited to watch the passion. I'm sure overnight when I'm driving, I will be looking at some of the highlights from the games, and I cannot wait to see the fans. So on that note, good luck to all the teams playing. All right, let's close this video out back with what it should have. Anyway, let's close this out with some NFL news. So some stuff that happened this week. The hold-ins. I love how they're not holding out now, they're holding in. So the players are there, which shows this, okay? A hold-in, and the fact that we had so many of them shows that these guys are only after the money, not after trying to move. Let's break it down realistically. They only want to get paid. They don't want to go play for somebody else. They just want their money. I can respect that enough because they're there, they're watching the playbook, they're in the meetings, they're just not practicing, they're not doing anything physical that they could get hurt before they get their new money. Okay, DK Metcalf, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think he's getting traded now. I thought there was a chance prior. I don't think he's going to get traded now. He got a brand new 3-year extension. Good for him. Good for him. Derwin James, the safety from San Diego, he's good. I don't know necessarily why he's holding out too much, but he's good. But he is holding in. He's at practice, and he's waiting. We do have a couple that are refusing to practice that technically aren't signed, that have not signed their franchise tag tenders that they were offered because the deal couldn't get done. And for those, as long as they sign by week 3, they're mostly okay. I'm not going to say that they're great, but when you've been with the team for 5-6 years, you're not really going to get hurt by it. Let's be honest. If no coaching changes or anything like that took place, what you're seeing, Kyler Murray, the quarterback for the Cardinals, got his contract. The addendum. Oh goodness. This had me absolutely confused. I thought about making a video just for this. Okay. They took it out. So the Arizona Cardinals put a clause into their quarterback's contract that required him to do 4 hours of off-field study on his own time on the team, the opponent that they were playing the next week. 4 hours. I don't know how many of you watched last year Peyton and Eli's Manning cast on Monday Night Football. He had multiple quarterbacks on Monday night. Multiple. And you know what 75% of them were doing on that Monday night? They were in their office watching film from the previous day and getting an idea of what their opponent was going to do the next week. On Monday, on the off day. Monday's the off day, by the way. Monday's the off day for pro players unless you have a Monday Night Football game. You're off on Mondays. Practice starts on Tuesday. They were in their office, working, preparing. Here's what I'll say about this. The work ethic of players just got blown up by that clause that was put into that contract. Now, they took it out because it was becoming too big of a distraction, and kudos to Arizona for doing that. They put it in there purposely because that was needed. Like, they have legitimate concerns that this guy's actually going to be committed. Then it became a distraction and they took it away. They took the distraction out because they're trying to win. So they took a distraction out. So kudos to them for doing that. However, it just exposed. It did. It really exposed. If you do not have a work ethic in the NFL, a team just broke the ice and put a clause in a player's contract requiring them to do the job that they are given, that they have. Russell Wilson came out afterwards and goes, if somebody told me I had to study for X amount of hours, I would times it by 3. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. I heard a comparison this week. Like Ben Roethlisberger was never huge on film study. Ben Roethlisberger was never that great of a quarterback. Look at his throws. Like, you want to know why I can say that? Watch the games. Look at his throws. If he didn't have a player that was streaking down the field, so many of his throws were just bombs. Like, he was not doing a bunch of comeback routes. Even later on, like, they were still trying to throw deep routes, deep 15-yard out routes. Didn't work. So many of his stuff was just throwing the football up and people catching it. I have said the same thing about Patrick Mahomes. I think Tyreek Hill not being in Kansas City will prove how good of a quarterback Patrick Mahomes is, or prove how bad. Because you don't just have the speedy receiver that you're just throwing the ball up and letting them run underneath it. It is a big difference. That's why Dante Culpepper was a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. He had Randy Moss. What did he do? He threw the ball in the air. Moss caught the ball. And that is basically how I think the league is going to start looking at things. Kyler Murray, they question commitment. They question work ethic. I mean, he stopped playing football last year. They got blown out and didn't even care. Didn't even care that they lost the playoff game. It was just a horrible look for a franchise quarterback. And his comment, Kyler Murray made the comment that he loves the fact that people think he's gotten to where he's gotten without any work ethic. Here's the thing. Now, talk to Michael Vick. Michael Vick said, I never really got into the film study part of being a quarterback. Well, guess what his teams always did? Lost in the playoffs. His teams never won that much outside of the playoffs. Like, you get the 9-7, 10-6 teams. You'd make the playoffs as a wild card, but they were never great teams. You could never really throw the ball. That's what Kyler's in danger of. Each player now that is going to get a new contract, if they are questioning whether or not you are committed and devoted and have the work ethic, you will now potentially have a clause in your contract requiring you to do your job. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. The ice has been broken over a lot of things this year. The first one was the guaranteed contract. Deshaun Watson got a guaranteed contract, all the money guaranteed. Nobody's going to do that again. But the ice got broken for a huge amount of money to now be guaranteed to a player. They were trying to keep that as low as possible to keep them safe. That broke it. And now this clause that the Cardinals put in broke that ice down. So now, watch for more player clauses to be in there of, yeah, we're going to require you to actually do the work you're supposed to do. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. Work ethic will always triumph in the end. Who has work ethic? The team that won the Super Bowl last year. The team that has a lot of skill, that put in the work still to make sure they could win. That's who's going to win the Super Bowl. Those types of teams, those types of players are going to be the ones that make it all the way. Work ethic matters. All right, guys, that is it for this one. Next episode, I believe we are doing the NFC East, and that'll be in the next episode. But for this one, guys, that is all. And I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my afternoon. And you have a great evening, night, whatever it may be for you. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to like and subscribe for the future videos. Join the Discord. We got the polls and the stuff that'll be starting here in a couple weeks. And the Fantasy Football League that I'll be throwing out there here shortly as well. So, guys, until next time, wings up, hawk out. Take it easy, guys.